Hey everyone, my name is Louie and this is my mom Bex. We both live on the road. Currently my mom lives in a ProMaster and I am outfitting this Jeep that we're sitting in right now. And we have just finished van lifing through the South. I used to live in a van. And we spent 6 months in the Gulf Coast area as well as Florida, all the way to Georgia, and we went as far north as like a little corner of Tennessee. We ended up coming back to the West Coast in order to take care of business and get vaccinated and whatnot. So we're back here on the West Coast now, and I wanted to talk about our experience in the South van lifing and just give you guys a lowdown about what we went through and what we did, what we experienced.
Yeah, over 6 months. Very quickly.
Yeah, over a very quick 6 months and packed 6 months.
Definitely.
So I asked you guys to ask some questions on my Instagram and over on the community tab on my YouTube, and you guys came up with a lot of good questions that we will answer. But first I want to talk about some of the places that we enjoyed the most in the South. What was your favorite place, Mom?
I have several. My ultimate was Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I just loved Atlanta so much, and I think it had a lot to do with, our family is there, so we were really able to explore the city from like a local's perspective, which was awesome. But I loved all of the like older cities, St. Augustine, Savannah, Charleston, New Orleans was amazing.
New Orleans is my top favorite place in the South.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd say definitely New Orleans and Atlanta are my favorite places in the South. Besides the Everglades.
Yeah, the Everglades was amazing.
Those are like my top 3. I definitely enjoyed Charleston, St. Augustine, and Savannah because they're so old and full of history, and I love history. Yeah. But I'd say New Orleans is probably my favorite historic city. Yeah, so.
In fact, we were like, should we buy some property down here in the French Quarter?
I was like, I could totally live here.
We could live here.
And I really, really enjoyed the Creole culture, and it really helps me heal some of the disconnect I have with my racial ambiguity and, my mixedness, to see that there are Creole people. I feel like an American Creole person now.
Yeah,
and
same here.
It helped me really see that. So. I'm very grateful for that. I'd say Louisiana is my favorite state in the South.
Me too.
Personally.
I agree. Louisiana, was the little cities that we went to in Louisiana were amazing. People were so friendly.
The food was good. Beignets.
Oh,
beignets every day.
Yes. For the whole time we were there, we had beignets pretty much every day. That was great.
Yeah. That was my favorite spot.
I mean, I feel like I need to say that we do recognize that we went to specific places. We did not travel the whole South.
Yeah, we didn't see all of it.
These are our experiences in the cities that we chose to go to, and they were really positive ones for the most part,
Which we'll get into more of the other stuff. But yeah, definitely I would agree that Louisiana, out of the places that we were able to go to, great. But we didn't get to go to the northern part of Louisiana. But I'd say the Gulf Coast part of Louisiana, I enjoyed very much.
Definitely. It's
really I recommend it for sure. A bunch of people asked on the topic of, was it really difficult to be in a van in the South? And I would say it's definitely different from van life in the West Coast for sure. I think that there is a lot of people who live in vehicles and RVs, all of the different types of nomad, ways of being a nomad. But I'd say that like there are some areas, it's like pockets of areas where people understand it. And then there are other areas where people don't know that it's a thing. And so it feels at some points, like in the more touristy populated areas, I'd say people recognize it and it doesn't really bother them. I do have to say, except for Key West. And then there's the areas where, people don't know about it, and then there's areas where people do know about it, and so it's a mixed bag. I'd say like overall the experience of the South for us was a mixed bag.
It was
of up and down.
A lot of up and down. It was an emotional 6 months.
What would you say though? Like, yeah, I would just say the biggest difference is there are less places that are marked on maps and on like apps like iOverlander and freecampsites.net. But I do have to say that if you're going for a more camp style trip down in the South, I'd say Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, the northern parts of it, and the northern part of Georgia. That's your spot.
Yeah.
There's some beautiful mountains,
And they have wonderful parks for camping.
Yeah, they have it together there for camping. So
Yeah.
I
Even
definitely
in Florida,
recommend that.
there were many parks that, you know, were campsite places.
Yeah. I'd say those
Yeah.
are really populated though. Lots of people go to Florida, it seems, for
Oh,
the
yeah.
winter, which makes
Especially
sense.
the time that we were there.
Yeah,
So,
and there were a lot of people, and it's mostly like a lot of people do RV stuff in Florida. I've noticed.
more so, for
more so
sure.
than vans or in cars.
yeah.
So safety is always a really important thing when you're going to an area, and I got a lot of questions about people saying like, how did you feel safety wise in terms of being a woman just in general, and then also being a person of color? Like, how did you feel? And I'd say like anywhere in the US, I'll just speak on the US because I know the US the best, but like anywhere in the US, there's going to be problems, there's going to be people, there's going to be good and bad, and there will be times where you don't feel safe no matter where you are. But I definitely say in the South, I generally felt safe for the most part, especially because we were sticking to more like central, like touristy areas. But we did enter some areas that had Confederate flags. There were a lot of Confederate flags, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
and
that was pretty scary.
And that's pretty scary. And there's a lot of like a lot of Trump signs everywhere, a lot of all of that. And I can be, in honesty, like we try to move quickly through those places because, you know, there are definitely good people there, and there are definitely people who there are other people of color who live in those areas. I'm sure of it, but for us to feel safe, I think that was our main thing. And then besides that, I would say like anything, like all of the safety measures you would take anywhere else living on the road, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing goes.
If a place felt unsafe, we moved on.
Yeah, that's mine.
But for us, we're very planful, so that doesn't tend to happen to us because we really have done like our research before we get to a place. We know where we're gonna go. We've already read like all the comments about it. We kind of know the air.
We know
as
we
much as
have.
we can.
Have an objective of like what we want out of an area.
We don't ever go to a town and then figure out where we're gonna. Not usually. Unless we're thrown off and we get to a place and it's
like
closed.
that happened to us in Miami. What did we do? I think we got to Miami and we're like, oh, this area doesn't feel so great.
When we were going to go to that park, remember?
We're like, this doesn't seem like a place like I would want to hang out here all day. We just like instinctively felt that way.
So then
we moved on, and then it was hectic. So
yeah.
But that's the thing is, like, if you do get to a place and you feel uncomfortable, like anywhere in the world, then you should just move on.
And that's the great thing.
And it doesn't matter if you're wrong or right about it. If your instinct tells you that it's not safe, it's not safe.
Well, if your instinct is telling you that, it's right.
And it's better safe than sorry at the end of the day.
And it's right if your instinct is telling you, you know?
Yeah.
So.
But as far as, like, being people of color down the South, like, obviously we're a lighter skin tone, so it's, like, it's different. We have definitely some privileges in that. But yeah, I would say it's generally fine. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but 50% of Black Americans live in the South. I mean,
when I read that, I just found that out recently.
That made me put things into perspective. Like, things happen everywhere. Like, it doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just really refreshing being around so many BIPOCs.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was just like this, don't take me wrong, but like normal, everyday BIPOCs. Not the image we get in media about, you know, whatever BS
they want to portray.
Yeah. We're talking everyday people, normal freaking people.
Yeah.
And that was so validating and refreshing
and healing.
Yes. To
see people not represented as like caricatures of a race.
Yeah.
or an ethnicity, and that's really kind of, it's very healing.
It was
if you're thinking
beautiful.
about going to the South, and that's one of the reasons I feel like it's good to go down there. If you're not from there already, obviously, but
it was
or to
wonderful.
explore it more is like
I'm happy we had the experience because it really has opened my eyes to the reality of our country in bad and in good. It's given me a completely different perspective about. I mean, I've always known that the media is just warped, but it just solidified that for me.
And it debunked a lot of the generalizations I had in my own head.
Yeah.
And it helped me unlearn a lot of stuff, and I'm really grateful for that.
Definitely. Me too.
And now I look at the South as a place that, like, we had our struggles, we did face our things, and our adversity down there being, people that like are seemingly homeless and like stuff like that. But yeah, I look at that trip down there is such a warm thing in my heart, and like I feel like a strong woman now. Like I feel so comfortable in my skin. I feel changed.
Do you think it's because our ancestry is part of our ancestry is from the South, and we haven't had both of us haven't really had that much exposure to
or connection to
that side of us. So being there and just experiencing and being able to like visualize, like, okay, this is what my grandma, the town similar to a town she lived in, or
seeing that like we did have enslaved family ancestors, and seeing that like what they had to go through in order for us to be able to travel like this today was really empowering, and it makes me just so grateful. Grateful like for the people standing on the shoulders of giants. We're really able to do what we're doing today because of our ancestors. And their strength. I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, same here.
And I think that was empowering.
Yeah.
And to see like the civil rights movement centers and
in Birmingham, we went to Birmingham.
And seeing in Atlanta, the neighborhood where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. grew up and lived and worked. Like,
and many other amazing activists.
And many other amazing activists.
Yeah.
It makes me feel so empowered. Yeah. And strong and just comfortable in my own skin.
And it also for me has really helped me to realize like I've been seeing this a lot in social media, is just like showing Black joy, showing BIPOC joy. Like we need to, of course, I'm not saying we don't need to focus on the injustice and the BS that's happening in our country, but like we really need to exemplify the joy and strength that we are as people, and
learn about it.
Exactly. And that just strengthens me in that way. It makes me even more, it makes me want to live my life successfully and to like kick some butt.
It makes me want to just strive to be a happy and good person.
And to continue to like grow as a person and just be good people and to stand up for what's right.
And especially
continue to vote, continue to support our communities and
it was cathartic. Validating, cathartic, all of that. So anyways, moving on.
We could talk about that forever.
My buddy asked, what was it like the COVID response in the South? And I'd say it's like anywhere else in the U.S. There are pockets where people don't really believe in wearing masks all over the South, and then there are pockets where everybody is on it super well, and it just depends on where you are, and it's just like out here in the West or in anywhere.
And we were in a lot of touristy areas, so a lot of people were more mask wearers. They
were taking it very seriously. I mean, there were a couple times in more like rural areas, like passing through, you would see people without masks sometimes, and it's like that everywhere in the U.S. though. If you're not from the U.S., it's like that everywhere. Stick to the places where you feel safe is all I have to say. And someone asked lots of people have asked were you trying to avoid sundown towns and places, like what areas would you recommend for BIPOCs to stay away from? And really the only place that like comes to mind that I like immediately, well, there's two types of places. Like I would say stay away from rural areas that have Confederate flags and people staring at you and gawking at you,
and that
when you're filling up your gas or something. Yeah, and you don't know anybody there, and you're unfamiliar with it. I just say stay away from those areas. That's what we did personally.
Yeah.
For our own safety and mental health, because it's not really great to feel like paranoid, you know, even though you might be fine. I recommend that. And then the only other area, like specific area that I felt unsafe in, was this one area in northern Florida where there was a giant Confederate flag. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I don't know what people's opinions are on this, but when I see a giant Confederate flag like that, I don't feel welcome.
And we're talking the biggest Confederate
Like,
flag
it was the
we've ever seen in our
size,
lives.
I'm trying to think of what I could compare it to.
Of like those big, huge
It was the
American
size-
flags you see on the highway or next to a
It was
auto dealership. Those huge ones where you can see them for like a mile on a straight road.
Yeah, and I know I've some people told me that that's like something they've been trying to take down for a long time.
Yeah.
But that just is proof of like, for me, it's not a safe space.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I recommend, there's an area, it's like more northern central Florida that I would stay away. It's like
Yeah.
kind of near Tampa.
Yeah. And we
Tampa
kinda-
was fine,
We
but
had some
yeah.
bad experience there too.
And we had some very,
You can check out the previous videos.
yeah, you can check out the previous videos, but we had a very tough time in central Florida.
Yeah.
Rest of Florida is fine though, like northern Florida, like St. Augustine area, that was really awesome. And then we went down to Miami, and the city isn't really our thing, so it wasn't like the best of times for us, but it's not a bad place.
And we visited friends near Orlando area.
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was fine.
And, yeah.
So a lot of
So-
it was fine, but.
It was just that one area that we didn't feel safe in.
And I also think it was like kind of new for us, even though like that extreme. It was like a new place.
yeah.
It was a new experience, and it was. It was
and then
really
and then
heavy.
like after seeing the Confederate flag, I just felt paranoid afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
I just really did not feel safe. And
Yeah, it was weird. So.
And I'm not saying there aren't good people who live around there. I
Yeah.
just want to
These are
reiterate
These are our
that doesn't,
experiences.
yeah, that,
Underline our.
because like I just,
Yeah.
because when I came out with those videos about what we were experiencing, so many people got butthurt. So I'm sorry if you got butthurt, but I don't mean you.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to
These
make
are
that.
our experiences.
I don't mean you. I'm not saying that you're like that.
Unless you are.
No, yeah, I just didn't feel safe there. Okay, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
Oh, and no, we didn't really research sundown towns. We just mostly stick to the more like touristy specific places.
Yeah.
So yeah, finding parking in the southern area, the Gulf and the southern region that we were in, like the South region that we were in, was, I'd say, a little more difficult than in the West, for sure, but it wasn't impossible.
Yeah.
Like, when in doubt, stay at a Cracker Barrel. At this point, we should be reps for Cracker Barrel.
Seriously.
But someone asked if you could stay in a Prius down there, and I say yes, definitely. You could stay in a Cracker Barrel in your Prius, just as long as you're like discreet and like, you know, not.
Because it's for travelers. It's a stop
Yeah,
for
they don't
travelers.
mind.
They don't bother you. I mean, it's
And there's Cracker Barrels all over the place, and then and Walmarts too. You could stay at a Walmart, but there also are camping spots. Yeah,
there are. If you
There
look
are.
for them.
They're around. It's just
Yeah.
not like, it's not, they're
not-
more
they're not as-
sparse. It's not like you have to drive further to get to each of them, but it's not like, it's
not
not
as
like in the West
prevalent.
where it's like there's like 10 in one area. It's like one every 40 miles or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
that's like,
Yeah, just
That's
have to search
exaggerated,
a little
but-
harder, which can be exhausting. I mean, I found that the last 6 months was particularly exhausting, not just because of the new experience being there.
and just being out of our
But-
comfort zone.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
exhausting, like not knowing where we were gonna be. We stayed at so many Cracker Barrels because of that, because it was just like,
Thank you, Cracker Barrel.
yeah, it was just
We did
like
buy
we didn't know where to
pancakes one
stay, you
time.
know.
And then we found out that they cook them in lard, and we were like, never mind.
And that was the end of our Cracker
That was the
Barrel
end
eating
of.
experience.
We were like, that's not really our thing.
Yeah. Although I have to say they were really good pancakes.
They were delicious. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, we don't-
I won't be supporting that.
No, we don't.
That's not us.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so then the last question that I thought was kind of funny was, did you see any snakes, or like how often did you see snakes? And we didn't see. We wanted to see some pythons.
Yeah, we were hoping to see pythons in the Everglades.
We really wanted to see that, but we didn't see any.
didn't. We saw little
lots of
snakes.
crocodiles
We
and
saw little-
alligators.
we saw a couple little snakes.
Yeah, we saw a couple
Yeah.
little snakes, but they were black, and I think they were harmless.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we saw a lot of alligators. We saw crocodiles.
It's
but,
definitely not like, it's not like
They're not
a
everywhere.
tropical Amazon rainforest, that's for sure.
I mean, they are everywhere, but they weren't in front of our face everywhere.
I mean, we weren't going deep into the bushes.
Yeah.
So.
And we weren't like standing at water's edge waiting to be prey.
Yeah. But I do have to say that seeing as many alligators and crocodiles as I saw was so cool.
That was very cool.
That's worth it in itself. If you just can go down to Florida or like, well, that's mostly where we saw.
Yeah.
I was like so prepared the whole time in the South to see alligators, and we only saw them when we were in Florida.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I loved that. That was very cool. So yeah, our overall experience of the South was definitely a mixed bag, I have to say. It was a lot of up and down personally for us, because we were going through a lot of like healing and like understanding our ancestry and who we are, and like seeing all these really powerful places that mean a lot to us and
Into our country.
into our country, and then also being out of our comfort zone, being in an area that is very different politically than where we're from. So
Yeah, it was definitely a growing experience.
it was a growing experience. I'm
Very
really
worth
grateful
it.
for it. It
Me
was very
too.
worth it. I say
Yeah.
that it's not, I don't think it's travel. I think travel is the most worth it when when you experience a little bit of adversity and you're pushed out of your comfort zone, and yeah, I feel like a different person.
And then you can break it down and
Yeah.
you can say, you know what did I learn from this? What was this experience? What did this mean to me?
We can now laugh about the time, all of the things that happened, like the cop knocking on our door and being aggressive. I mean, so many things we can laugh about it now.
Yeah.
Like
At the time,
it was pretty
but-
traumatic. And I shared a
fortunately for
lot
us,
of what
nothing
happened, but I
happened.
didn't share everything that happened just because it was a lot. But now I feel like making this video is good because we can kind of close this out and be like,
It's
that
a
was that.
chapter.
It was a chapter. We learned from it, and I will be going back to New Orleans and Atlanta for sure
Definitely.
to see our family, of course. But
Yeah,
I love
of
New
course.
Orleans. I really want to go back for Mardi Gras when things are back to normal and we can really celebrate
Yeah.
Mardi Gras. So, anything else you have to say?
No, I think that's it. That covers it.
All right, so I hope this was helpful to those of you who are thinking about going to the South, or you're just curious about what it would be like to van life down there. And yeah, go follow my mom at Out Seeking Rainbows on YouTube and on Instagram.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. We are back here in the West, and we have lots of exciting things coming up, including building out this Jeep and some more things
Some
that will
other-
surprises that we could drop an Easter egg here and say that we're going to be announcing soon.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited, and I'm just so grateful to be able to experience things and then share it with everybody, because I feel like this could be helpful. Do you feel like this could be helpful to people?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it already is. I think
it's helpful, and I just really want people to see the U.S. for what it is, like the good and bad.
yeah.
I want people to be able to see.
And we've just been to
Yeah.
a snippet of it. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. I want to
But-
share what I can.
Yeah, exactly.
So that we can add to the narrative and the history. I mean, these videos will be here hopefully forever, and I want people to be able to look at these a long time from now.
Yeah.
Be like, that's what it was like during the pandemic in the South,
I
during this
know.
era
Yeah.
as women of color and blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. So
I do too.
yeah, thank you for watching and
all of the
engaging,
positive,
and yeah,
exactly, all the positive comments were just great, you know.
reading some of the positive comments when we were going through really tough time in the South really helped.
Yeah.
Really made me feel like, okay, we should keep going. Like, this is useful to people. This is, you know, interesting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
all right, we're done with our long rant. But thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'll see you in the next video.
Yes. Bye.
And an extra special thank you to the following supporters.